Prologue, Evan's Gift. Happy birthday to me, I thought as I rolled to the side, barely dodging the giant gray fist as it slammed down right where my head was just a moment ago. My hand scratched on the concrete of the bridge as I threw myself to my feet. My right hand jerked itself up in front of me in a defensive guard in between myself and the monster. The shining golden sword I held in my fist pulled my attention. Everything was going good and normal until I got you. Happy birthday, Evan! I jumped and turned my head down the hall towards the source of the call to see Gwen speed-walking towards me, her arms full of art supplies. I laughed. I was wondering when you would ambush me. Yeah, well, with my new project we didn't get to see each other this morning, so this was my earliest opportunity. I helped take some of the items off her hands so she wouldn't be in danger of dropping them. I just had the one morning class today, and I took today off of work, so I'm free for the rest of the day. Are you? Of course I'm free today. Just help me put the stuff away and then we can get out of here. As we walked across campus, I let my eyes wander. So, pink hair? Oh yeah, you like it? She did a slow twirl, careful not to drop anything. Yeah, I like it. It suits you. Gwen was the most art person to ever art. You name it, and she has probably done it. Drawing? Check. Painting? Check. Ceramics? Check. Sculpting? Double check. It's actually how we met. I'm not one to turn down a source of income, and the college needed someone to pose for a class. And well, one thing led to another, and I had to pose nude for a bunch of art students to use as reference. Afterwards, Gwen had come up to me and said I had reminded her of the statue of Perseus, and a few months later, we started sharing an apartment. Gwen also treated her body as a canvas. Hair dye, makeup, tie-dye shirts and dresses. It was almost like nothing escaped her artistic vision. Well, except perhaps me. I once asked her, I always look underdressed in comparison to you. Does it bother you? She had shaken her head and simply said, Nah, you look best the way you are. Plus, I don't think I would recognize you in anything other than a plaid shirt at this point. I shook my head, dismissing the mist of past memories. I pulled out my key fob and unlocked my car, an old, beat-up, faded blue minivan. So, are we just going to... Oh, not the apartment yet. I have an idea for your gift. Let's head to the Nimue Bridge. I parked near the base of the bridge and we both got out as Gwen went to the trunk to get something. So, what's the plan? Magnet fishing, she replied while walking up with a long rope tightly wound with a big flat piece of metal tied at one end. Magnet fishing? I looked at her a bit confused because this was not at all what I had been guessing. Gwen shifted from side to side, a bit embarrassed. Yeah, well, I couldn't really afford to buy you something, so I figured we could fish for your gift. Oh, well, you don't need to... I stopped myself. Gwen was obviously embarrassed about not being able to buy me anything, and me saying, don't worry about it, probably wouldn't help. Well, let's go fish something up. Maybe I'll end up getting a new bike. Soon we might actually be able to build a bike, I said, as we pulled another rusty bent set of training wheels out of the river. The Nimue River was far down on my list of places I wanted to swim in. It was dark, cloudy, and frankly rank. We had been standing on the bank of the river next to the bridge, taking turns throwing the magnet into the water and then pulling it out. Well, it along with anything stuck to it. The amount of trash in the river surprised me. I'd always known it was polluted, but seeing it up close and personal was another thing. We had two piles going, one of junk metal like screws, axles, mufflers, unidentifiable lumps, etc., and the other pile was made of other trash we'd cleaned up, like plastic bags, can rings, and tons of cigarettes. I wouldn't describe the afternoon as romantic per se, but we were having fun. Seeing who could throw the magnet farther, me, who could make it cause the smallest splash, Gwen, and who could find the coolest item. So Gwen, I said as she pulled up our third muffler, have you done this before? Oh yeah, it's a good way to get items for sculptures and references. Plus, sometimes you find something good that you can sell for a bit of cash. I get it. I looked at our pile. Some of these car parts are worth a bit. Why is the river so polluted like this anyways? I mean, I get some of it, like the cigarettes, but some of this stuff I don't understand how it ends up in the river. She shrugged. I don't know. Most of the city's rivers are like this. It's probably just the usual, people treating them like a trash can. Either that or the mob has been dumping cars in the rivers to get rid of the evidence. I must have looked quite shocked, because Gwen laughed. I'm only joking, Evan. Come on, let's do one more toss, and then we can head back. I'll cook tonight. She winked at me and tossed the magnet into the river one more time. We let it drift with the current for a few moments, as the sounds of the city communed in the background. The sun was going to set soon, so while we waited, I started cleaning up our riverside mess, so it would be easier to bring back to the car. I got something! Gwen shouted over her shoulder. Whatever it was heavy. Gwen was pulling hard on the rope, her feet dug in the rocky shore. I jogged up and also grabbed the rope and pulled. Man, this thing is heavy. We didn't find a whole car, did we? I said in a strained voice. I have no idea. Just keep pulling. I think we are making progress. She was right. It was slowly being pulled towards us, but we had to keep readjusting so we didn't accidentally fall in the river. Mist clung to the edge of the polluted water as we finally pulled our quarry from the river. We both stood for a moment, panting from the effort and appraising our catch. The object rested halfway still in the water and half on the shore, with the evening mist swirling around its base. It was a large hunk of rusted metal in a weird shape. Is it an anvil? Poking halfway a bit askew out of the top was a beautiful silver and golden sword with a ruby pommel. What the? I muttered. Well, happy birthday? Gwen said while gesturing to the object confusedly. We both walked up to it, our feet crunching on the pebble beach. How is it not rusty? I asked. Was this a great idea or what? And here I thought the best thing we might find was something to sell, not, well, Excalibur. We both stood in silence, admiring it. Well, go on, Mr. Arthur, she said while giving a light shove towards the blade. Pull the sword from the stone. I chuckled at the weirdness of the scenario, but approached the sword. Looking closer, it didn't look like the sword was sheathed in the anvil, more like it was all one piece. Frankly, I doubted there even was a sword to pull out. Might as well make a show of it, I thought, as I took a firm stance and grasped the hilt with both hands. It was weirdly dry and a bit warm to the touch, as I started to pull. There was a moment of resistance, but then the blade started to move. It was difficult at first, requiring all my strength, but moment by moment it became easier, before it finally came free. The sword was beautiful. The hilt was just long enough to be held with one hand or two. The blade was about the length of my arm, about 30 inches, and it was perfectly balanced, almost as if it was shifting its center of gravity as it swung through the air. It's beautiful, Gwen gasped. It feels like it was made for me, I said as I slashed it through the air. I then noticed my wet shoes and socks as I had traveled too close to the water. Let's get going. It's getting late and it's cold. We packed up everything into the minivan and headed home, to a nice meal and cozy movie. That night I had a strange dream, the type of dream that you actually remember upon waking. I was lost wandering through the city. No matter what I tried, I couldn't get my bearings. All the signs were illegible, and the city layout seemed to keep changing as if it wanted me lost. I called out into the heavy fog around me, but only heard random noises. The sound of someone coughing, the scream of someone falling, the rev of a motorcycle, and other weird sounds. I walked aimlessly before finding a glowing golden light in the mist, and as I reached my hand towards it, my alarm woke me up. The city seemed different today. It was hard to put my finger on how exactly. Same tall buildings and dirty streets, same hustle and bustle. I eventually described it as more visible. It was like how I imagined people with glasses felt upon getting them for the first time. Like everything was more in focus, and it makes you realize just how blind you were before. I left the philosophical musings there, because I only had so much brain power to spend on thinking when working at an understaffed Burger Castle location. As I was driving home that evening, still grumbling to myself about dumb customers, I stopped at the toll on the Noomway Bridge. Wait, when was there a toll on this bridge? I slowly glanced to the size at the toll booth. It was a ramshackle box made of scrap metal and wood, with a paper sign stuck to its roof. Toll booth. No, wait, it's Troll booth? The being that had been crouched behind the shack then lumbered out into view. It was about 12 feet tall, with thick gray skin, yellow pupilless eyes, and sharp, jagged teeth.
"Pay up, bridge thief,"
it bellowed at me. What? I stuttered.
"You have stolen from me. Everything on and under my bridge is mine."
It raised its huge fist, about to slam down on the roof of my car. I overcame my paralysis and shoved my foot onto the gas, causing my car to jump to life and race forward.
"You won't escape,"
it bellowed as it threw the troll booth through the air, causing it to crash down in front of my car. I tried to avoid the now crushed booth, but only ended up causing my car to skid sideways into the wreck and get stuck. I unbuckled myself and hurried out of the car, my eyes glued on the troll as it stomped towards me.
"I will take all your things, then your life, human."
I ran to the trunk of my car and threw it open. Maybe if I give it all the junk back, it would just leave me alone. Maybe... Then I saw it. My glowing golden sword. I don't know what possessed me, but I grabbed it and turned to face the monster. "Stand down! I'm warning you!" I cried out, hoping that it didn't hear the fear in my voice. The troll closed the distance between us.
"Foolish human, that puny sword will not save you."
It raised both its fists, about to slam them down and crush me. Excalibur jumped to life, pulling to the right, causing my body to be yanked along with it, and dodged the blow from the troll. The troll then swung its arm down at me and backhanded me with a hand the size of my torso, causing me to go tumbling across the hard concrete on the bridge. I rolled to the side along the bridge to avoid getting my head crushed by another monstrous fist, and then scrambled to my feet. This is bad, I thought as I tried to stay out of the troll's reach. I can't keep dodging forever. Eventually it'll catch and kill me. I tightened my hand around the hilt of my sword, feeling a bubbling heroic bravery rise in my chest. The best defense is a good offense. I charged the troll. I yelled as I ran, feeling my feet slap the bridge. The troll swung one of its large hands towards me in an attempt to squash me into the ground. My hand jerked to the side, swinging in a fast arc, which caused the glowing blade to meet flesh and sever off two of the monster's fingers. It roared in pain and shock, clutching its now bleeding mitt to its chest. I took the opportunity, ran in close, and delivered a long vertical slash up its torso. The troll screamed in pain and collapsed to one knee. Its blood spilled upon the bridge.
"Spare me, please,"
it moaned. "Am I the first person you've taken a toll from before?" I growled.
"No, it's my bridge. I have the right to take what I want and eat all who can't pay."
I thought about Gwen. It's a good way to get items for sculptures and references. Plus, sometimes you find something good that you could sell for a bit of cash. If this monster lived, she would be in danger. Her and anyone else who tried to clean the river. I looked the monster in its eyes. Then I raised my sword and stabbed it deep into the troll's skull. I held it there for a moment, then gripped the hilt with both hands and pulled Excalibur free, with a splash and spray of blood. When I finally got my car unstuck, I glanced at the sword, wet with blood, in my passenger seat. What on earth have you got me wrapped up in? I thought as I drove off into the night, the mist parting before me.